Hey, how's it going, everybody? It's Sunday night. It's Blasted or Stash It time. Pocan Joe and myself giving you the rundown of the books that came out on January 8th, 2020. I almost said 2019. Still not getting over that hump. First time coming to check out our show. We do a lot of things. We review the books that came out through the week prior. If you do like what you see, you're more than welcome to go support us financially. You can go pick up a cool t-shirt. Drew is wrong about X-Men, changed my mind, or the Thunderlust shirt over on Teespring. Link down below in the description. If you want to go to Patreon, you can go over to Patreon and enter that and be entered into the contest for the Book of the Month Club. This month, I'm giving away tonight here. I'll probably give it away here in a little bit. And that is Marauders #3, the Virgin Kitty Pryde variant. Hot book.
Nice.
Those of you who supported us last month, you'll be entered that contest. We'll be giving that book away. You can also just a thumbs up, a share. All that good stuff is greatly appreciated. And we're going to jump into the books for this week. Well, you want to give us an update on that chat before we jump in there, Joe?
Yes, I will. So Double S, always the faithful viewer. Thank you very much. By the way, check his Instagram out. He's got some cool pictures on there. I was just checking it out the other day. He says, I can't wait, guys. He's got us double thumbs up and the that's okay sign, especially since Batman is back to his old self again. Yes, we are going to talk about that tonight, and it's going to be great. Big brain Tom King is off of it, and we finally got some simplistic writing with good storytelling. We're going to talk about that tonight and a lot more. So I'm excited. Some good stuff, and I get to blast a lot of stuff because there's some garbage that came out. So it's going to be fun.
We can go ahead and jump into the elephant in the room. We can jump into Batman, and we talk about that first. I think that is actually probably from all the books I read this week, my pick of the week, because it wasn't a very strong week otherwise, really, for me.
Yeah, I would agree. Why don't you go ahead and kick us off there while I try to find it?
Okay, yeah. So Batman number, I got to find it here myself. Damn it, number 86. Ding dong, the king is dead. So no longer Tom King on this run. We have Tinian on this. So this is actually a great story. I think it gets Batman more back to his roots, the detective, all the time thinking about being one step ahead of the bad guys. We still have a little bit of the mental breakdown of Alfred being gone. So he still kind of has that. He kind of still thinks Alfred's still there. The whole storyline at the beginning of it, he kind of reminiscing of him being a kid and drawing like the skyline of Gotham. And Alfred's saying, hey, make Gotham your own, draw your own, add the things that you want to see in Gotham. And that's kind of playing a big part, I think, in the story going up. One, because he's donated a whole bunch of money to building this college and getting other people to donate to. So he's actually building the Gotham that he wants to build. Now, does that mean that Batman, he's trying to build it so Batman can no longer be Batman or can step down from that role? We don't know. We do get a couple new characters in here. We get Gunsmith and Mr. T, which are, I think, they're pretty cool characters. We don't get a whole lot of them yet. Hopefully, we're going to get more of them later. We do find out there's 5 assassins in town to take care. I think it's maybe essentially tear down Bruce's idea or Batman's idea of what Gotham is to be. We find a new Batmobile, quote unquote Batmobile. It says they even name it. I don't think they named it in the comic.
I think they kind of hinted around. They're calling it a wall crawler. I'll talk more about that. It was confusing, but yeah.
Yeah, that's right. It definitely made me think of Justice League because that one machine he had in there, the spider thing. He talks about Deathstroke's peak efficiency, how he's like almost like lightning quick and kind of realize what's going on. That's kind of cool, I think. Some great fight between Deathstroke and Batman, and how he's saying, well, everybody else got away. He said, no, I have this new device called a Shadowcaster that makes people think I'm chasing them, Yeah. And at the end of that fight, Bruce is pretty beat up. Mask is half torn off, but he's taking care of Deathstroke. He's calling for Alfred. That's the thing. He still thinks in the mentality Alfred's always there, but it's actually Mr. Fox that's there. And But overall, man, what a great story. I know there's a Joker into it as well, but I forgot to take my notes on that. But it was definitely my pick of the week, and I'm glad to see Batman back into the character we love, kicking ass, not all mentally downtrodden, not all no PTSD, great stuff.
Magnum PI disguising looking
Joker.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. This book is definitely a just a great stash, and we got a little bit of, we didn't totally destroy everything that King did, and we can't, right? You can't do that if he killed Alfred. If you just made Alfred come back to life like that, it would just be, it would just put a bad taste in everybody's mouth. So we got to deal with this in some way, shape, or form. So we're going to carry some of that baggage for a while. Let's see what it turns into. If we need Alfred back for some reason or another, we can always go to some other dimension and just grab one from there. Like, that's easy enough, right? It's a secondary character. But yeah, this whole reshaping of Gotham thing, I'm liking this. Is he doing this to keep like busy, a distraction? Is it a legitimate plan? Why is this happening? The whole little secondary story with Catwoman and this guy trying to steal some data, kind of intrigued what that was about. I want some more information on that. And this new vehicle, I'm kind of interested in it. They kept like saying that it can climb walls and it can fly. I don't think it needs to do both of those things. Like, that's just a little overdone for me. But you know what? It looked cool, even though it was kind of vaguely drawn, like shadowy, but it flew off at the end. That was pretty cool. These new tech toys where it projects a shadow of Batman, so people think that he's around to keep people busy. Super smart. Why hasn't somebody thought of that before? Loved every bit of this, and I'm loving these new villains. I'm a villains guy. I like Mr. Teeth. I think Double S said it best. He's like, he loves the way he just kind of makes this noise. It's hilarious. Gunsmith, right? Okay, we're playing with the maybe a little political with this, with gun rights and Gunsmith and all the American on them. Okay, fine. Let's roll with it. I want to see what this guy does. Is he a weapons builder? I want to see him in action. So I'm actually reading a Batman comic book where I want to know more about it versus waiting for something to be over with and big brain thinking and trying to make me conceptualize somebody's emotional state. I don't want to do that. I just want to read a comic book, get something out of it, and move on. That would be great. Real quick, in the chat room, we got Thom's Comic Book and Reviews. He says, hey, you said hey back to him. Double S in the room with us. He's if DC needs Alfred back, Batman can always put him in the Lazarus pit. That is true. And can I be your third? Guess you're gonna have to get with Huey on that. I don't take care of that kind of stuff. That's his deal. But other than that, I really liked this book. It's definitely a stash. It's not my pick of the week though, but it is a stash.
With everything they're doing in this Dark Dimensions too, who said they couldn't pull an Alfred from one of those?
Yeah,
so Alfred could come back. Like I said, I'm glad that it didn't go, okay, well, no, Alfred's back. Whatever Tom King did is not canon. We're just going to start all new. So I'm kind of glad they're keeping some of that, but hoping he's be able to do course correct on the rest of the story moving forward. And I think he's got a good foot starting that. So, yes, Tom's, not Tom's. We were just actually talking about trying to maybe get a guest on here. We'll definitely get in touch with you. Or if you're on our Facebook group, get a hold of me, the messenger, and send me a message. We can figure that out.
Believe it or not, we actually do kind of sort of plan this show. Is we just generally forget it because I drink too much during it.
Yeah. Okay. What do you got then for your next book, Joe?
Are we ready to blast something? Blast something
if you want.
Okay. Sometimes our show, it reminds me of, like Broken Dreams and Dirt, and it smells like ham. Did you see what I did there? I said something about food because ham. This is so stupid. The dialogue in this just drives me crazy. Quick synopsis of the story. We pick right up off a couple of days later, right after Star here has been punched through the chest. by Captain Marvel to get the Reality Stone out of her. So what's all this Reality Stone going on? Well, if you haven't picked it up yet, they're going to try to do like a Justice League type team with all these different stones on it, because we know one guy has the Time Stone. He just escaped from prison back in the summertime. We got her for some reason. She's got the Reality Stone now. People are getting these stones. They're going to create a team off of it. Do we really want it? I don't know. I know I don't want Star. So she's dealing with all this. She's having nightmares. She's drinking in a bar. They're hinting at PTSD. Fine, whatever. She's the dialogue in this. Every time a woman speaks in it, I keep getting this Bad Girls. Remember, well, or Mean Girls. Remember the show Mean Girls, or the movie Mean Girls? It's like everything's snarky and I'm just like, oh my God. And as we go through this, she needs to be very specific on what she wants when dealing with the Reality Stone. So if she says stronger, she'll just slightly be stronger instead of being stronger then. We see this when she gets into a fight with some oversized lady in the bar. Then we jump to her needing Jessica Jones's help. Why she picks Jessica Jones? She's not the most understanding superhero in all of Marvel, but hey, apparently tries to mind control her. That doesn't work out well either. They get into a fight, kind of, sort of. It's weak at best. And then we end the story with Scarlet Witch randomly showing up. And I'm just going to give you an example of the dialogue in this thing that I just keep hearing. It literally says, Scarlet Witch pops out of nowhere because she's magical. Yeah, I'm going to need you to knock this foul word off right now. You're screwing everything up, Ripley, and I do mean everything. Like, what? That's the best dialogue you come up with? This is what we get when we let children write comic books. This is just, and everything's just snarky and to the point, and I don't know. It's so bad. So, yep, that's me ranting on Star #1. Will I pick up issue #2? I guess I kind of have to, because I'm going to need something to blast, and it looks like a lot of good stuff's coming out next week. So, yeah.
I didn't think it was as bad. The only thing I don't like, there's no men in the book. They're all secondary characters. We need a leading man in here. This is just plain sexist. That's just what this is. All the women are the strong people. The men are the weak ones, or playing second fiddle. That's just wrong. That's sexist. We need to change that. Okay, Marvel, get on top of that. The art was good. I love the art in it. I thought that was one of the biggest factors about it. There are some panels that are kind of hit or miss, but the art was good overall. The story wasn't too bad, kind of generic. I don't know a whole lot about Star. I don't read Captain Marvel. I know that her was it Captain Marvel #8, her first appearance is like a big spec book right now. So other than that, I just picked it up because I knew it was #1. Okay, I do want to find out about who this character is, and maybe she might be a bigger play a bigger role moving forward in Marvel. We don't know. But overall, I think I'd pick it up if I could find it $1 bin. Or if I didn't have a whole lot to read that week and really that week, I'd pick up issue 2 just to go, okay, it wasn't bad. It wasn't great. It didn't really capture my attention. It was just right middle of the road. But really, we need a strong male character in here, because I think it's just too sexist of a book.
Yeah, that whole thing with Loki. Did you get any creepy rape vibes off of that? The way they set that up.
Oh yeah, the way she had a pin down.
Really?
Yeah. Yep. Double S said, "Yeah, I wasn't too sure about picking up Star. Took a quick look inside, didn't like it just from the cover alone as well. Luckily, I did not pick it up." There were a few other covers for that. I just got the J. Scott Campbell just because it was more visually appealing cover than cover A. So, okay.
I picked up some variant, whatever.
Let's talk about Marvel's X.
Yeah, let's talk about this.
I didn't read any of the Marvels from before. I know Alex Ross. I'm not sure if he did all the art in the original Marvels, but I was worried reading this I was going to lose something. I wasn't going to pick up on something, or there was another story that that was going to make it confusing for me. But actually, it was pretty straightforward. I'm looking through them like because it said Alex Ross art, and I'm like, that doesn't look like Alex Ross is taking a day off. That's what it looks like right there inside the interior. Because I mean, it's not that it's horrible art, but it's definitely not Alex Ross quality. Or I'm like, well, maybe when he draws versus paints might be far different, but I think it's somebody else doing the art. So in this story here, we get this kid. I don't know if they ever say how old he is. He's 12, something like that. He's a big superhero nut. He loves superheroes. At the beginning of the book, he's what is that? Your dog hacking up a bone?
She's dreaming. I'll be right back.
Mango Bad, how you doing? So yeah, we got this character David. He's about 12-ish, right around there. He loves superheroes. He's playing with the little cardboard cutout superheroes in like the landscape of New York in the background. And his parents are watching the news there and just keep telling him to be quiet, because they're talking about this virus going around. They're not sure what it is. They call it like scabs. Essentially they start building on somebody. And essentially it's almost like a chrysalis, so it's kind of like Cocoon. It'll make me think of Inhumans to some degree. And they keep talking about it. They say, hey, you need to lock your doors up, stay inside, get away from it. But even when they're talking about that, if you're looking at the parents sitting on the couch, it looks like they're already starting to get those little scabby things on them.
That's bad art.
Is it just bad art?
I think it's bad art.
So then we jump ahead. I think it's a couple months. It doesn't say. A few months later, everything had changed. And we find out his parents are no longer there. It's his older sister, April, and his grandmother. And he has no signs of any kind of virus or like that, but he's taking care of his sister and his grandma. But all they're living on is pretty much cereal at this point. Sister does not want to leave the room because of she doesn't want her brother to see her. Grandma's on her deathbed. Look like she's almost covered with these scabs. And the cocoon reminds me of kind of a periwinkle. Do you know what a periwinkle is?
Yes.
Yeah. But he goes out to get more food, and when he goes out to get more food, he has to put on a mask because he wants people to be scared of him because he's still just a little kid. So he puts on a Green Goblin mask. That's him on the cover there.
Yeah.
And
trying to be scary. I think he was just trying to show that he wasn't normal.
Yeah. He wasn't trying to show he was just a little kid.
Right.
That was potentially something that somebody could be assaulted or killed. He was just trying to, he meets this lady that runs this store called Mrs. Tree, and she's turned basically into a tree. He gets food and comes back, and as he comes back, he hears some noise coming from his sister's room. His sister has changed into the superhero thing, and she says she needs to leave. She ends up leaving. Grandmother dies. Now he's all on his own. And then he ends up meeting a truck driver. He thinks, okay, if I'm on my own, I might as well go to New York and hang out with the superheroes. Maybe they'll protect me, be part of my family now. Truck driver does end up saving him, the one that actually brings the food to that store as they're going along. So because he forgets his mask at home. But overall, it was a good story. I thought it was decent. Like I said, it kind of reminded me of Inhumans a little bit with the superpowers, but they're not necessarily good either, though. I think a lot of them are evil and they're killing other people and stuff like that. But they don't really go into that in great detail. But overall, it was a decent book. I'll pick up issue 2 for sure.
Yeah, I hate the art in this. It's so distracting and it's weird. The sister turns into like this glowing fairy thing, I guess. But all in all, I like the story. I like the progression of the story. This takes place, I'm assuming, during that new Genesis period in comic books. I think that's when the Genesis virus kind of spread out and cocooned everybody and mutated certain people. Like only certain people are affected. I like this story because the story is basically like, and not to get like weird or meta, but it's a coming of age story. We already know that in the beginning. We see the kid playing with toys, being a kid. He's got dreams and aspirations and great imagination of what superheroes are, right? Because he has no focus on the actual reality of everything. So when his parents are dying, he's the only one left. He gets this great idea that he's going to shoot over to New York because that's where That's where the Avengers are. We'll just say Avengers in this case, including Spider-Man. So he's going to get in his bike. He's going to take off. Forgets his mask because he's a kid. He's going to make mistakes. Trucker comes over, saves him. Trucker is, as far as we know right now, he's a normie too. He's just a normal guy. Jumps into the truck. Usually this kind of situation turns into an Amber Alert, but situations are different in this comic book. So they're going to take off. I think what we're ultimately going to get from this story is again, like that coming of age story, the naive kid. He's going to go through some trials and tribulations, and reality's going to bite him, and he's going to have to grow up and somehow or another become a hero out of all this. I hope that's the direction they take this in, because I think that's a great opportunity for this story. We can kind of talk about, or it can kind of talk about, you don't need superpowers to be a superhero, right? Look at Batman, look at, character Hawkeye and characters like that. Maybe he'll evolve into something like that. That would be kind of cool. So I'm really hoping that that's the course that they take, and all of a sudden he just doesn't, he's a late bloomer or whatever with mutant powers, whatever the case may be. So yeah, I like it for the aspect of that. But God, this art in this, I'm just like, oh, it's just, I almost wish it was just a book in this case.
So is this guy John, the truck driver at the end? Is he anybody else we were thinking of? I don't know. It seemed like to me, I was thinking he kind of looked like Matt Murdock a little bit to me, with a beard and the glasses. And I'm thinking, is that who that is? They said his name was John.
Yeah.
But I don't know if he's, and he has a hat that says "No Fear."
Yeah, I saw that too. I wasn't sure, but I was like, that Matt Murdock driving across country in a truck, dropping off groceries. I don't know. That's
I get that. It seems kind of weird, but he also talks about his sight or something too, I thought. But yeah, I just thought it was an interesting take on it. And they do talk about like his superpower of hiding, and he's like, that's not a superpower. This his grandmother's telling him to, or not being seen, essentially. Thom's comic book review. So he asked earlier on any other platforms, and I said something about we are on all the social media. I'm not sure. And he says, I was talking about Half Squatch.
Oh,
I'm not sure you're talking about me or what. I'm usually Huey on other platforms too. So,
right. Oh, that was you. Let me pick up.
That was me.
That was you. Okay. So I picked up Venom number 22. Yeah, what a good story. I like my more savage type stories of survival and everything else. And I really like this. This is good storytelling. Venom, or Eddie Brock, is on his island from way back in the stories. And he has to fight off Carnage in this one, because Carnage has taken over Venom, right? And now Eddie Brock wants basically a piece of himself back, which is, in this case, Venom, and Venom is trapped. So now he's got to try to save him. He tried to strike a deal. He's like, with Carnage, he's like, look, you can have this island. Just give me my other part back, or give me, my friend back. And Carnage isn't hearing it because he's kind of sadistic and weird. So the battle is on. Flames are flying. The flamethrower scene where he kind of makes a wall so he can talk, that was great. I'm really liking this. Not a whole lot of, if you want to get deep with this, right, you can talk about the internal struggles of the different parts of you, since all this can inhabit you. And when a piece of you is missing, or a personality of you is suppressed to some degree, how it can make you rage out and want to fight back for it. That's about as meta as I can get with it. But in this, it's done in such an extraordinary way. I get this Rambo Predator vibe from it, with a spooky monster and the whole 9 yards. I'm really enjoying this. I like a more savage story, and Venom is definitely delivering that to me. Thank you. And it was also my pick of the week.
Okay. At the end of that book, he ended up lopping his hand off because Carnage won't let go. But it shows the cover for Venom 23. He has both hands again. So
we'll see what happens.
We'll see what happens. Yeah, I definitely got a huge Predator vibe from this. I was ready for the music montage of him setting up the pit and the traps and all the other stuff, and waiting for Eddie Brock. I'm here, kill me, I'm here. I was waiting for that too, but it didn't happen. I mean, kind of to some degree because he is talking to him, saying, "Hey, I'll let you have this island. Let me go. Let me have my buddy back." But yeah, running through the jungle, with dusty skivvies on.
Right.
I thought that was kind of funny. So apparently, and we get this little is it a dream that Dylan has about Null too? So that's kind of coming around too. We got a little glimpse into that, as well as a symbiote in a little wooden box underneath his bed.
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out when he had time to snag that, because we already know that he's objectively different in some manner. We got that from the past issue, so I'm trying to figure out when did this other little symbiote thing happen, and that kind of was confusing for a second, but who knows?
Yeah, I talked about that last night at our auction. That's not well. Actually, let's not talk about our auction. How we don't know what kind of character Dylan's going to be playing in the Marvel universe. From that we just have a little snippet of what he's capable of. We don't even know everything what he's capable of. Yeah. So I think he's going to play a bigger role going forward. I thought it was kind of interesting too that he took over all the creatures on that island. And they were kind of attacking him, and they all kind of had the venom eye, the white around the eyes and all that stuff. So it definitely was a stash. It's still good. I'm still looking forward to. I'm not sure if it's a conclusion of Venom Island. Didn't say.
Yeah,
but yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to that for issue 23.
I was just about to make that joke. Good point, Double S. Double S says I was waiting for Arnold to come out and Venom and say to Eddie, "Get to the chopper." I was going to make a crack about that, but I couldn't think of it quick enough. Good job, Double S.
Okay. What's that? I seem like I don't have a whole lot of books this week. I missed a few that I didn't get to read. Damn it. Let's talk about the Ruins of Ravencroft, Carnage.
Yeah, it's perfectly right with the Raven thing.
Yeah. So this is just essentially one shot, I think, building more backstory to Carnage and Null and all of that. So Ravencroft has now been destroyed because of the Absolute Carnage stuff. But they're rebuilding it. Okay, I got my little notes here. Give me un momento, por favor. Okay, so we have a few main characters coming up at the beginning of the book. We have Misty Knight, Mayor Fisk, and John. Who the hell was John? I could not figure that out.
That's Jane Jomason's son.
Okay, it is. Okay. I could not place the face, he wasn't easily recognizable. So they're at the site of Ravencroft getting destroyed. And then one of the workers on that crew find a book, and they come running to Mayor Fisk, and then it kind of pops back the backstory of that area. It talks about the Pilgrims and Native Americans and how pretty much all that land has always been cursed right around Ravencroft. And some cannibalistic Native Americans, and they're attacking the Pilgrims. They talk about one couple in specific. His name is Cortland and Molly. Molly ended up getting kidnapped. Cortland tried to round up other people in the village and say, "Hey, come help me get I don't know if they're married, my girlfriend back."
Well, they're like, married. Yeah.
They're like, no, we're not doing that. And he says, "Screw you, I'll do it on my own." He ends up going out, getting attacked, but she ends up saving him because she's been kind of hiding out. Mm-hmm. He asks where they are. They're all down inside this cave. And he says, "This is my time to catch them all at the same time and just wipe them out." He goes in there, hears some yelling and screaming. You think maybe you see him emerging from the cage. You think, okay, maybe he took care of them all, but he's possessed. He has the swirly eyes.
Yeah, he's got
swirly eyes.
So he's all carnageized now.
Yeah. So another thing interesting too is when he's in that cave, he sees over the cave drawing. There's Null, which I'm assuming it's Null.
I don't want to interrupt, right? But so you saw the Null thing, and then you saw like the venomized animals in the cave, right? So obviously this whole thing with Null, and it goes way, way back. Did you notice that on Null he's got the Spider-Man emblem that Venom has?
Oh yeah, I see it. Yeah, it
That
has
whole
more of a
thing I
tail
thought
on it, though.
started with Venom kind of trying to mimic Spider-Man, that kind of thing. So why would Null have that? Like, why would that be a thing?
I don't know. But he definitely has a longer tail on it than what Venom does on
Yeah.
his. But yeah, so we definitely get more backstory. We know that Null is a big character in the Marvel universe. We know now he's been around for millennia. You know, he's been around since the beginning of time, and so they're just pushing him further and further into that timeline of how important he was in the creation of some of the Marvel universe stuff.
Mhm.
Yeah, but so Cortland Cassidy. That's his name, is Cortland Cassidy.
Now think about this. Now, what's the young lady's last name?
It's Molly Ravencroft.
So now we made a direct because Cassidy. Who do we know that's Cassidy?
Cletus Cassidy.
Cletus Cassidy. So now
Yeah.
we automatically establish a connection between Cletus Cassidy and Ravenclaw, which always made sense to begin with. But now we got more of a solidified thing. I think that's going to play later.
I think so too. You know, and I didn't catch his last name until the second time I read through it. I'm like, wait a minute, Cassidy. What that? Because I knew her name was Ravencroft as it popped up. I'm like, oh, okay, that connects there. And then Cassidy. But he ends up, since he's possessed, he's going back into the village or the settlement, and they're like zombified, just walking through, and somebody's, hey, dude, what's going on? Boom, just shoots him right in the freaking face with that pistol. I thought that was pretty crazy. We ended up killing like 8 settlers, and they threw him inside a cell. Didn't kill him. But Molly's still in love with him, still cares about him. She goes out there. He ended up letting him go, and they never see him again. They just assume maybe he's either he died from his injuries he got, or he's actually part of this new or the cannibal tribe. But we also find out more about Ravencroft. They find out there's a pathway that goes down below, and there's a whole other
hospital down there.
Yeah.
Apparently, there's a big shock there too.
Yeah. So overall, I think this is great. I think it builds a story. You know, he cements Null and Ravencroft and symbiotes all back and historic. That's great. That's awesome. Was it worth $5? I don't think so. I think you could probably. It's just those little cool tidbits of information. You can go, hey, this is what I found here. Is it necessity to the story going forward? No, I don't think so. Overall, I thought it was a good story. Art was okay, but I don't know if I would have paid $5 for it. So it's a stash for relevance, I think, of history, but a blast just because it's not super important, I don't think. What about you?
I loved this story. I like this kind of weird connection that we now have with mental health and Cassidy. I like the fact that they established the first Ravenclaw as that prison that they put him in. That they put Cassidy in. It says in there is like the first established mental institution, and it's basically just a 6x6 box that he was stored in because he was insane. I thought that was great. I always like it when you take historical things and you kind of roll it into a fantasy story. So they did that very well here with Giovanni di Verison. He's an Italian explorer. They mentioned him right there in the beginning. He's the explorer. And the cool thing about him is he's the one that actually mapped out the entire Thousand Island region of northern New York up there near, Buffalo, Thousand Islands, all the way up to Ithaca, where you got Fort Drum and all that. He's kind of the explorer that kind of spelled all that. And he did end his exploration early because of people missing, starvation, cold winters, that whole thing. So they just kind of played off of that a little bit. I love it when they do that kind of stuff. It gives me something to look up, and you learn a little something too. Comic books making you smarter. So I thought that was really ingenious for the writer to kind of play off of those tropes. The Native American part of it and the cannibalism, but it's really just people infected with the carnage, whatever. You can't say symbiote at this point because they're not symbiotes. They're just, I don't know, in a mind control thing with them or whatever. I like the whole God is coming thing, even from back then. It plays very well into today. And I really want to know what the big surprise is underneath Ravenclaw. Again, he left me off on a cliffhanger where I'm just like, I want more. And that's what a good comic book should do. And it does that very well. In the chat, we got Double S says, I thought it was a good read too. That's because you read good comic books. And liking the covers. Hello, Joey Huey and the chat. What's going on, brother? Thank you for coming in. Hope you enjoy the show. And guys, if you've read any of these books that we're talking about and you got a point of view on them, please share them in the chat. This is a community conversation. We're happy to talk about it. Bring up a point.
The other part, there's one panel in here that really threw me off. I mean, it took me a second to figure out what it was. I mean, it just looked weird. The depth on the panel was off, and it didn't look right. There's a panel right here with that ship. If you just look at it quick, it looks like it's floating in the sky.
Yeah.
I looked at it and I go, what the hell is that? And then I realized they're looking down a hill into the bay or the harbor. And I'm like, man, they could have done that a little better, I think. Yeah. Sure, they have little shark fins or something in the water. I don't know.
Also, at the end of this book, and I thought this was weird, they're going to do something with Sabretooth in this issue. So I'm kind of wondering if they're going to jump back to the past and do a Sabretooth thing, because he's been alive a very long time. Or if it's going to be where he got sucked down to the bowels of Krakoa and it's the current Sabretooth. If they're going to try to connect the X-Men into this storyline. I don't know.
Maybe, yeah. Like I said, it was a good story. I enjoyed it. It's kind of hard to pay $5 when it's something that's not like the next part of the story. I think is just going to be its own separate story, but like a history of Ravencroft attached to it.
Yeah.
But overall, oh, you're up with your next book.
All right, let's talk about. You didn't read that. Did you read Amazing Spider-Man?
Mm-mm.
Okay.
I think the only other one. Oh, I don't think I've read any others the same as you.
Okay, so
I'll
go ahead and talk about this then. So I'm going to talk about Deadpool #2. Just to give you a quick catch up on this. What's going on, Splash Page? Thanks for coming in. What's going on, Comic Core? What's up? So Deadpool, right? I'm somewhat of a Deadpool fan. It depends on the storyline, really, for me more than the character. I thought I could get into this. I can't get into this. And it has nothing to do with the story. The art in here is so bad. Sometimes I have to stare at a panel just to kind of see what's going on in it. So just a quick catch. Apparently, Staten Island's been lost to a civilization of just random monsters because of some deal that was worked out like hundreds of years ago, and it was up, and Deadpool killed the king, so now he's king of the island, right? So that's his deal. Some people don't like this, and they're trying to kill him. The best part of this story is now that we have a Kraven that's slightly younger, right? It's a clone of the original Kraven. I like some of the things they keep calling him here, and there's kind of snarky attitude. One of them was, I'm getting tired of this, bootleg Jack version of a millennial Kraven. It's great banter and stuff going on here, but the art just drives me crazy because everything's just so jumbled together. It's just a mess. So unfortunately, unless something crazy happens in the next issue, I'm going to be dropping this. And the sad thing is it has nothing to do with the story because it's just a silly, fun story with a lot of funny words in it. But the art just drives me crazy. And if I'm going to pay $5, I want the full package. That's just how I am.
Well, Mike might like it because at the end, there's a shark there.
Yeah, the little shark's in there. That's funny. Yeah, it's funny. It's cute, but oh god, the art so bad.
Yeah, we got a few more people in chat. Great Legend shows popped in here and said, "Hey guys, we got a whole Great Legend recently because I'm headed to Texas tomorrow. I thought it'd be kind of cool to go dinner with him, hang out with him evening, talk shit about comics. But I don't know. We'll see if we can make that happen.
Legend's cool guy to hang out with. I like hearing some of that Legend's truth that he preaches.
What up, Comic Core? aka Chris Jericho of Comic Core, also known as Inner Circle, aka La Champion, aka Mr. Little Bit of the Bubbly, aka I have no clue to what they're talking about. I don't want to. You would say, I'm almost out of comics, but I got one more, and you bet your White Ash I do, and it's by Scout Comics. It's White Ash #1.
White Ash.
White Ash. So, talk about art. This was inconsistent, I think, throughout the book. It was just, drawing the figures, tall, short. He just never was consistent. One of the main characters, Alec. Might have made LJ popping in here too to make sure I'm not saying anything dirty or bad. So in this story, basically, we have the beginning. There's this typical white trash girl wearing Daisy Dukes yelling at her boyfriend in the bar because he's drunk. He doesn't want to get a job. She's talking about this place called White Ash. It's a town. The town itself is just desolate. There's nothing to do there, but there's work in the mines. But he doesn't want to go there. She does because she wants him to work on patrol. And so he's basically kind of shoving her off, saying, hey, and she says, hey, if you're not in the truck in 5 minutes, I'm leaving without you. He goes to the bathroom. She runs another pale looking dude in the bar, and they start talking, and she introduces herself. His name is Seth. And Seth ends up going into the bathroom where her boyfriend is. And we find out later that Seth, this new vampire-looking, pale-looking guy, is in the truck with the girl headed to White Ash. And the boyfriend is chunked up and in the toilet in the bathroom. So, and it doesn't really play a whole lot into that. Then it jumps into kind of setting the story up or setting the White Ash up and how it's kind of a white trash town. People are fighting over stupid stuff. There's not a whole lot going on. The one main character, Alec, he's like 18, 19. He's getting ready to go to college. He's saying, I'm had enough of this town. I'm leaving. But his dad is like, stuck to the mines. He's a working guy. He doesn't understand why his son's leaving. According, he's old school, as in you just work. You don't worry about education. You just work. You survive that way. So they kind of have a weird relationship. But they can tell they love each other, but there's not. It's kind of like it's like a father's like, hey, hey son, you're my son. Not really a whole lot of emotion there. Alex going around town talking, telling everybody goodbye and all this stuff, and he ends up going by the owner of the mine because he's done work for him, landscaping work, and give him some money. And I'm not going to say White Ash 5 times fast. Sorry.
Come on.
But the owner of the mine says, hey, dude, you screwed up my hedges. I'm not going to pay you until you fix them. So he goes to go fix them, pulling his shirt off, showing his six-pack around, and then he tried to hook up with the mine owner's daughter. And then we find out, then he goes back to the mines where dad's working. They're going on break. They catch this one guy down in the mine. It looks like that guy's Seth from the beginning of the book. He planted a bomb at the bottom of the mine. It blows up. And that's how the book ends. And then Alex running back to the mine, trying to find his dad. So there's the relationship between the father and the son. There's the story of, I need to leave this town because, it's not, I'm too big of a fish essentially for, I need to get out of here and do something better with my life.
I'm a peacock. I just need to stretch my wings and fly.
Yeah. And then there's the vampire, because the guy kind of looks like a vampire at the end of the story when he's down in the mine. So it makes me think: is the miners down in there? Are they going to find like a hive of vampires? Is that what they're trying to protect? We don't know. Is it enough for me to pick up issue 2? No, it's not. The art was too inconsistent with it. The guy was short, tall, wider, narrower, and it was just too inconsistent. But unfortunately, no, I'm not going to be picking up issue 2 on this. So this is a blast for me. White Ash, White Ash, White Ash, White Ash.
I'm kind of impressed right now. So Double S says, so there's no actual White Ash in the story. Some people
other than the town of White Ash.
The town of White Ash. That's crazy. All right.
There's no diversity in White Ash either. They're all white people. Not enough diversity in White Ash.
Oh, good Lord. Let's talk about, well, anything else was pretty boring for me. No, this was pretty cool. All right. So this is Daphne Byrne. This is from the Hill House stories that are going out with, what's his name?
Joe
Stephen
Hill.
King's son, Joe Hill, whatever. So this is kind of a weird story, and I think I like it, but I haven't completely made up my mind yet. So let's see how it sounds when I say it out loud. So, young girl, she's the goth girl in a school. This takes place in the, we'll say, mid 1800s, I think. At least everything in it seems to be focused around that late to mid 1800s, because there's no automobiles or anything like that. So basically, young girl, she's kind of the goth girl in class, wears black, is kind of weird. The mean girls make fun of her and kind of bully her a little bit. But we find out she just lost her dad, right? So she's really sad and weirded out by it. Mom's not dealing with it well. She's seeing a psychic who's just a charlatan, because that was a very practical practice to have back then. And takes the young girl to it. Young girl finds out the lady's lying. Like, this is just not happening. It's not for real. She goes to sleep at night, and then all of a sudden she kind of like crosses the veil, and there's this creepy kid in there with this weird face. And basically it's a nightmare, or at least we're being led to believe that, and that there's a bunch of creepy, mysterious stuff going on in the back. It's weird. It's actually a ghost name, double S. Stephen King's son going by it's a ghost name. He wasn't trying to be recognized as being his being his father, but it got broken out in the news. I think right after the first issue he wrote of something else.
Yeah.
This is happening. This is just creepy, suspenseful type stuff. I don't know. I'm gonna get issue 2 just to see if it can get it to stick, because there's something scary going on in it, but they didn't bother describing it. Unfortunately, he kind of writes like his dad. There's a lot of setting up with very little intrigue at first, because it can always be blown off, much like Stephen King does. So I don't know. We'll see. Next issue will determine if this entire thing's a blast or a stash for me.
I don't think he is the writer on this one, though. Joe Hill Comics is the imprint, written by Laura Marks.
You're right. Laura Marks wrote this one. He's part of the creative team, is what he is.
Yeah. So I think it's just like with Top Cow, with Image and stuff like that. This is the Joe Hill presents Hill House Comics. They're kind of an imprint with a whole bunch of horror stuff. I did read this one. I forgot about it. Are you talking about goth wearing all black? Really, back then, wasn't it just black or white? There were no other colors, really, were there?
In the 1800s? Yeah, there was all kinds of colors in the 1800s.
I thought they were pretty limited, just
in the Revolutionary War, the redcoats wore red.
Yeah. But really, I mean, those are the people who had money and stuff like that. It wasn't, you had to have money to have color, I think. Just like with the Model T, you can have it any color you wanted, as long as it was black. Right?
Yeah, as long as it's black.
These Hill House books, or Joe Hill House books, are kind of like back and forth with me. Some of them are good, some are okay. I think my favorite one still is Basket Full of Heads, and it's kind of like it's teetering a little bit. 1886. I actually work in a building that was built in 1886, an old stagecoach stop. I actually give tours, so if you're ever in Oregon, get a hold of me. I'll give you a tour of the stagecoach stop and all the history behind it. So, I'm sorry, I had a little promotion on my end. I don't know. This just didn't. It wasn't memorable enough. Like I said, I totally forgot that I read it. That tells you right there that it was like, hey, whatever. The art didn't really do much for me either. There were some creepy scenes with like the zombie type people, but overall, I think it's just a blast. Unfortunately, and usually these are, popping up like $7 a piece. They're a little higher right out of the gate. For some reason, maybe because it has the Hill House name on it. Did you read the Sea Dogs, Chapter 8 of Sea Dogs?
I did, and I'm completely lost because I'm not reading the other stories that are in it. So I was like, I can't even talk about it.
Can't even talk about it. I've only got one other book to talk about. This is an image. This is a Top Cow book here. So they're called The Clock. The Clock. So what this is here, it starts out in Nigeria, and there's a father and son team kind of going and trying to figure out why people are having this aggressive outbreak of cancer. I mean, it kills with people within 2 months. That's what I'm saying. There's no visible signs. There's no, in his report, he talks to the UN later on, there's no early detection that yields no advantage. So even if they detect it early on, there's nothing they could do because it's so aggressive. While they're in Nigeria, they're taking blood samples from people and not getting consent with it. They're giving them antibiotics and stuff like that, but they're taking blood samples too. And the guy's thinking, well, it's just, I'm trying to save lives here. I'm not going to stop and get consent from everybody. They end up getting attacked by the rebels. The Americans help fight them off. And right after that battle's going through, the chieftain of this, I think it's chieftain, I don't know, it could be just not PC right now, is kind of thanking them for the help. And they just get a call, and the son, his name is Jack, that his wife had just died from the same kind of cancer they're investigating over in Nigeria, and she lives in the States. So he ended up going home, going to her funeral, talking about never being there and all that stuff. And then it talks about how the new cancer, it doesn't respond to chemo. It spreads really fast, kills the people usually within 2 months. He theorizes that the cancer has a predisposition and affects people who would normally have that cancer virus later on, or cancer later on in life. So essentially the virus is mutating and going into people who have the potential for have cancer later on in life and just killing them off younger. And he thinks that like half the population is going to be dead within the next year. So bobbing down. And at the end of that presentation is given, I'm assuming it's a UN, it's like 7-person panel he's talking to. He's walking down the hallway, he ended up getting run into by this guy, and the guy drops a note on him saying that your wife was murdered, with a code underneath it. I'm sure that the Marvel people from Incoming could probably figure it out relatively easy, but we don't know. And then the world counter is going backwards, the population's dropping. So I don't know. It's kind of interesting. Like I said, it's just a cancer virus that's really, really aggressive, and they have no way to treat it, and they're trying to figure it out. I don't know if I want to get issue 2 or not on that, but that's The Clock. That's a blast for me.
That sounds like what was it? Epidemic? Was that the name of the movie?
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, nah. That put me to sleep. Just the description of it.
And the art in here is not the best either. I mean, it's okay. It's of course it's better than I could draw ever. So, but I mean, it's tells a story. But it's a blast for me, unfortunately.
Okay, where are we at on time? We doing lightning, or we one more time?
You got one more book you can read, because I'm out of books, so it's perfect.
I got one independent here because the rest of mine didn't show up. So this is The Butcher of Paris. I enjoy this. This may not be your average comic book reader's enjoyment, but basically we're dealing with a true story for one thing, or loosely based off of a true story. So we find out who's been chopping up all these bodies here lately in this issue right here. There's been a mysterious killings. Obviously, the person has some sort of medical training, so you're getting a little bit of Jack the Ripper, Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde type story going on here. What makes this book interesting is it's taking place in Paris during the Germans' occupation of Paris. So the German soldiers are out at burlesques, and they're sticking their nose into this. Well, come to find out that the guy who they think is doing this Dr. Patois, there's rumors that he's a French freedom fighter. So now the Germans are very interested in him, and the cops are torn. They're like, do we go after this guy since he's kind of really fighting for us? So that kind of conversation's going on right now, which is weird because he's killing French people, so you'd think they just would. But this gets very noir real quick, because even in the burlesque, everything kind of has this drab depth about it, even the songs and everything, even though the women are being kind of sexy at the same time. So that's kind of interesting. I'll pick some more of this up just because the historical value of it is just interesting to me.
Yeah, I think it's only 4 issues long.
Yeah.
I have issues 1 and 2. I just didn't get a chance to read both before tonight's show. But from what you talked about, it's something I definitely want to pick up for sure.
I'll go ahead and I'll kick off a lightning round. We got Morbius, the Living Vampire. This is starting to get kind of annoying. The doctor and the good Dr. Morbius in this is just way too dedicated to finding this cure, to the point where it's almost annoying at this point. Like every other bubble in this is about how he needs to find a cure, and no matter what, and screw everything else around me, to the point where he even kind of violates Spider-Man a little bit by talking him into giving him some of his blood and ignoring everything else. This Elizabeth character in here, Elizabeth Van Helsing, kind of liking her, because she wears a corset and looks like she's about to pop out of it at any given second. So there's that. Spider-Man, we get a little bit of kindred action in this. Not much, though. It's at the end. Again, it's just something we've been kind of tapping on. But he does bring a villain back to life, and I'll give you a hint. He carries a badge, NYPD badge. So you can figure that one out, because they don't name him, so I don't want to speculate. But he does come back in this. We also get this little MacGuffin device that kind of figures probability in it. And just to make sure that we're not copying off of like Civil War and stuff, Spidey goes and makes sure that everybody's cool with him having this device, unlike Captain Marvel did in that run. So I thought that was a quick little wink to it. I thought that was funny. Immortal Hulk, we're bringing back classic Marvel monsters in this. So that's all it really is. Basically, Bruce Banner knows he's going into a trap. Everybody knows he's going to a trap. There's no surprise. And he's going to go beat up some monsters. And we get a lot of dialogue about it. That's really it. It was kind of cool how they drew out the monsters, though. Savage Avengers, this turns into fun really quick at the end. Now I'm back on board. I was thinking about dropping this, but this turned interesting real quick. Except for when they did this one stupid thing. So Gath, being the almighty wizard, left us off with destroying Doctor Doom, right? Well, we know he's not dead, and of course it was a Doom bot, because we can't use that enough. But then they immediately went into the action. Limbs are getting cut off in this by Conan. Magical stuff is happening in the background. Doctor Strange gets hurt really bad, and Doom kind of sends this thing from space, and it's carrying an armor suit in it. So yeah, we have an Iron Man, Doctor Doom, Doctor Strange play in this. It's fun. Why not? Let's see here. Serpent Wars got this beautiful cover. So we find out that our teams aren't really teammates. They don't really like each other. They're split into 2 teams. One team has Solomon Kane and what's his name? Moon Knight. That's one team. And the other team has Angus and Conan in it. And everybody's getting kind of tired of each other, because they're constantly chasing down these relics to break, because this ghost called James Allison, who's being pulled by the VAM, is kind of making them do it. But now we're starting to find out that James Allison is starting to become aware that he's being tricked himself, and in fact tricking our heroes, who are already getting kind of annoyed in this. Khonshu finally talks to Moon Knight, and he's like, you need to stop this, and don't break this next artifact. You're going to need it. So some fighting breaks out then. So I think all of our teams are going to kind of fold in on each other and then come together for the big battle. That's my prediction. And Ghost Rider, Johnny Blaze is out of control. He frees Mephisto from a prison. Danny goes into limbo to find some magical MacGuffin spell, only to be turned into what do they call themselves? The Knight of Corruption, whatever that means. We'll find out in the next issue, but he needs some sort of power since he's lost the spirit of vengeance. And those are my reads this week, so.
I forgot I did read Hulk. I don't know where it went to. The one thing I did like about Hulk, all the monsters' names were named after like horror or sci-fi
Yeah.
writers. Is that correct? I forgot all 4 of them. I remember looking at them like, oh, like one Wells, H.G. Wells or something.
Yeah.
One
Lovecraft. One was Lovecraft.
Lovecraft, H.P. Lovecraft. That's what it was. Okay,
They're
not
all
Wells.
properties of Roxy. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, I thought beating on stuff. And light going out. Okay, so what I did pick up, X-Force number 5. I got home and I realized I didn't have number 4, so I needed to go back. I went and picked up number 4 as well. Savage Avengers, I do have. I haven't read that yet. I do have the Elvira cover, the photo. I always say it. There's always only 2 reasons why I pick up this cover, and I think you know the 2 reasons. Ghost Rider, I did get this variant here. The was it design variant, Cooter design variant. Pick up that. So that must be the corruption guy or whatever it is, Lord of Corruption or whatever you said.
Lord of Corruption. Yeah.
I picked up this. I don't know why. I really need to make sure I'm double checking my lists. I might have ordered it. I don't know. Vengeance of Vampirella number 4, the Pirello cover. It was in my stack, so I bought it. I think maybe somebody's taking advantage of me. It is X-Force number 4. Pretty cool Catwoman cover this week. Picked up that one as well. So those are my books that I picked up this week. Before we jump into rounding everything up, let's talk about the giveaways. Talk about this right here, the Marauders number 3 Virgin variant from Frankie's Comics. We're going to do this a giveaway here. Let me go ahead and steal
Make
the
yourself
screen.
the big screen so people can get a look at that.
Here, let me cancel this here. I don't want to remove myself. There it is. There's that Virgin cover right there. So, Masonic Lodge number 0. Must be somebody you know.
I hope so.
That's the Marauders number 3 we're giving away this week here. Let's go ahead and do a screen share. Application window. Random. Okay. Okay, there we go. Joe, give me a number between 1 and 6. Actually, no, I don't need to do that. Never mind. I'm rolling the dice.
Oh,
here we go.
Yeah, roll the dice.
3. 3 times. You see that? Those 3 times on that dice?
Uh-huh.
So we're going to randomize this list 3 times. Caffeinated Geek, Jose with 1, Bob World with 2, Poke Joe with 3, Stephen Ronda with 3. So those are people who were part of our Patreons for December. So we're going to randomize it 3 times. The 3rd time we're going to be our winner. So there's 1.
Oh, lucky numbers.
There's 2.
Lucky numbers.
And 3. Stephen Ronda.
All right. Congratulations, Stephen Ronda.
Okay. We'll get that book out to him. Where's mine? To go back here to the main page. There I am. There you are. I don't want to make that big. There we go. That's what I want to do. So, Stephen Ronda, be getting that out to you. Thank you for supporting us through Patreon. You've been one of our faithful supporters now for over a year. We have quite a few people who have been supporting us for over a year. Do appreciate everybody who's done that. I might have to do like a year review of all the books we gave away just to maybe try to promote it a little bit more. Before we get out of here, do you have stuff you want to talk about, Joe?
So I got a couple of things going on. I'm going to have another online auction on the People's Auction House. I'll be posting that on my Instagram, Facebook, all that stuff to make sure you can get out there. Pay the price that you want. All bids will start at $1. A lot of good stuff going into this next one. If you've been missing some comic books in 2019, that's where they're going to be at. And you can get them as cheap as you can, and you will take care of all your own shipping. They'll contact you and you can have it shipped however you need to. Let's see. I'm writing a comic book right now. Me and another guy we got together, we decided to, I know I talk a lot of junk about comic books, so I'm going to put my money where my mouth is. Literally my money where my mouth is. So we're getting that going. And of course, I'm going to be going to Emerald City Comic Con, and I'm going to Galaxy Con in Richmond, Virginia. So I got some cons coming up on the channels. That's going to be some good content going out. And last but not least, On my channel, I currently have my villains contest. You definitely want to enter that villains contest. A lot of good stuff on there. You can leave a comment or make a video. Definitely check out Pocan Joe. Check that video out. You'll have fun with it, I promise.
Yeah, I don't do anything on my personal channel anymore. I do everything over here on this channel. So I get every once in a while I get a few subs there. I'm like, dude, I haven't posted anything over there for over a year. So, but I still keep it up just to go back and look through. It's kind of fun to go back and like, oh my god, I look like or sound like a complete idiot. I guess it's not much too different than what I sound like now, but you know, it is what it is. But definitely still have fun doing this. Been doing this now for 3 years. Different co-hosts coming in and out. And thinking of co-hosts, if you like to co-host, you like to jump on a show and talk about comics with us on a Sunday, get a hold of me or Joe and find out how to do that. We'd definitely like to have 1, 2 more people in here. It'd be great to be able to get that banter rolling, a lot more thoughts and discussions on these books. It's always fun. So if you're interested, get a hold of us. Let us know if you'd like to do that. I guess we'll
message us on the Facebook. Yeah, definitely. I think that's the best way to get a hold of us, right?
Yeah, through Facebook. You can message me on Instagram, on Twitter. We're on all those. Look up Blaster Stash. You'll find us there. Pretty much the same logo, pretty much everywhere on all those social media. So get a hold of me and let me know if you'd like to jump on the show and be a guest. Even if you're just starting YouTube and you want to try to get your name out there, jump on. We'll have fun doing it, talk about comic books. Last minute thing, like you do, if you want to enter that contest for the book of the week or book of the month, jump over to Patreon, go check that out. Go check out our Teespring, go check out our cool t-shirts we got over there. As well as if you're going to Emerald City Comic Con, let us know. It'd be kind of cool to hang out with some people from YouTube, talk comic books, sit down, go over our halls, just BS, have fun. Be grown ass men and talking about funny books. Always great. So whether you blast it, whether you stash it, happy reading, and we'll catch you guys next Sunday.
Next Sunday.